Stand by for a start. They are ready. Zaki joined by Animo, who looks destiny in the face. Animo holding on. Animo this time for the big A.
Carnival rising, stoked up. Burton says, come on, boy. Show the Aussies what you've got.
Twilight Payment. What a ride. What a win in a cup we'll never forget. Here's Cosmic Crusader presenting right down the centre. Evaporate at the 150, joined by Cosmic Crusader. Private Eye the inside. Cosmic Crusader just in front. Cosmic Crusader from Private Eye. Cosmic Crusader too good.
This is the World of Racing, brought to you by...
Hello, I'm Ray Thomas and welcome to the inaugural World of Racing with Racing and Sports, where we'll look back on the weekend of racing, all the big race action in Australia and overseas, and also throw forward to what's coming up in the world of racing. We'll analyse Cosmic Crusader's very impressive win in the Group 2 Lawrence Stakes at Caulfield, and also look how the 3-year-old stacked up in the features at Caulfield and Rose Hill. Chris Waller trained 4 winners at the Rose Hill meeting and also had some of his best spring carnival contenders gallop between races at the Rose Hill meeting. He will join us to give us an update on the likes of Autumn Glow, and we'll also go to Hong Kong to talk to Hall of Fame trainer David Hayes as he readies Carnival Rising for his Everest defence. Later in the show, Adam Blencowe, our ratings genius, will join us to give us his take on last weekend's big races, and also Timmy Ryan will join us to give us a market update ahead of the first Group 1 of the new season, the Winx Stakes at Royal Randwick. Well, at Royal Randwick this Saturday, it will be an all-star field for the Group 1 Winx Stakes, including the champion mare Autumn Glow, who makes her reappearance for the new season. We caught up with Chris Waller to get an update on Autumn Glow and some of his other stable stars. Joining us on Racing Sports TV is champion trainer Chris Waller. Just saw 7 of his stable's best go through their paces on a wet Rose Hill, but I think, Chris, you would have walked away pretty happy what you saw.
Yeah, these days are just as important for myself and my team. We feel it. We want to get things right for race day because it's the little things that you have to get right. So it was great for us, great for the horses, just to get them out there, stretch their legs, a little bit of race day experience, help settle the nerves for the horses. And they all went through the pace as well. We didn't fully test them, but they did enough work to stimulate them. They won't need to do a lot between now and next Saturday, and it's exciting to have them back.
It's a routine you've used a lot in recent years. Is it just bring them to the races a week out, get rid of that nervous energy ahead of their comeback runs?
It does, and what I could do today, I'd really have to gallop them hard at home to get them fit enough to race first up in a 1400 metre Group 1 race. So by doing it today, I can back off them a little bit. Otherwise, I'd have to be really giving them a searching workout on Tuesday morning.
Okay. Autumn Glow, a lot of focus on her, and rightly so. She's an outstanding mare. Looks in fantastic order, Chris. You must be happy the way she's come up for a 5-year-old season.
Very happy with their condition, and we've been working on that for basically 12 weeks.
Yep.
When they have their last run, they go out, put on weight, put meat on, and then you've got to muscle them up. So that each step of the way has gone well with her. She looks great, and most importantly, mentally, she's in a great space. She's enjoying her racing. She's in the zone. That was, I think, James's comment this morning that she's in the zone, and that's what we want to see.
She's so lightly raced, isn't she, Chris, for a 5-year-old mare? Just the 12 starts. I asked John Massara this a little bit earlier. Have we seen the best of her?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It'd be exciting if we haven't.
Yeah.
So the beauty of looking after the horses, thanks to owners and our team, patience, you can just continue to see them build, and we see each year these 5 and 6-year-olds, they just become invincible. They become in a zone. So if we can get her into that zone, we've got a lot to look forward to.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll see you next Saturday in the Winx Stakes. So I want to ask about all of them, Chris, but if you don't mind, too, Lady Shenandoah, she sort of lived in the shadow a bit of Autumn Glow, but she's an outstanding mare. What are you thinking with her after today's gallop?
Well, she'll be racing against the best horses every time, and because she's won 3 or 4 Group 1 races, you can't just drop them back to handicaps. So she'll be running against the good ones first up, and she'll let them know that she's there. I think she's a real 5-year-old mature horse now.
Did she go Winx Stakes? Or?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think she won those race Group 1s as a 3-year-old just with brilliance. As a 4-year-old, she had to race against the older horses. She wasn't handling it as well as I would like mentally. Nothing majorly wrong. And that's when things go wrong. The Manikato, a couple of it runs up in Sydney as well. Just things went against her, and it would impact your finishing position. I think now as a more mature 5-year-old, you'll see a more consistent horse.
And just finally, Chris, Baybuck and Autumn Boy, 2 of your Group 1 winning colts from last season, both looked in great order. What are you thinking with them for their comeback runs, and will they sort of go on separate paths after that?
Well, Baybuck's a brilliant Group 1 winner over 1400 metres, not just the Golden Rose, but also the All-Age Stakes. So he's going to be ready to go for his first up run. So that's exciting to have him back, and it's great that Godolphin are racing him on. They're fantastic with their stallions, and it's exciting if we can build on that already good resume that he's got. So yeah, 1400 Group 1's a serious target first up for him. And Autumn Boy, he's a horse that'll probably build into the prep. Like, he could get to an Epsom. He should still be...
Cox Plate horse?
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
We know the 2,000 metre distance will be no problem. It'll be good to go into that race with a Group 1 Epsom next to his name as well, or you can keep him fresh for the Golden Eagle. There's so many options and so much great racing coming up.
Certainly is. Chris Waller, thanks for joining us on Racing and Sports TV.
Thank you.
Well, thanks to Chris Waller for that update, and of course Autumn Glow's Winx Stakes reappearance will determine where she goes to this spring, either to the Everest over 1200 metres or the King Charles III Stakes over 1600 metres on Everest Day, October 17. Stay with us. Coming up next, it's David Hayes. Welcome back to the world of racing. Now we're joined by Hall of Fame trainer David Hayes from Hong Kong to get an update on Carrying Rising. And joining us on Racing and Sports TV is Hall of Fame trainer David Hayes from Hong Kong. Dave, really appreciate you joining us. You just finished your European holiday. I hope you didn't cut it short for me.
No, I didn't. It was a coincidence, but Kaying was having a gallop this morning before his trial next Friday, and I wanted to see it.
Fair enough. We'll wake up this morning, David, to the news that he's still the world's top-rated horse, albeit equal with an ombudsman on 131. But I think it's a real feather in your cap, and indeed Carrying Rising's, because my word's not yours, Dave, but I think there's a natural bias against sprinters when it comes to the world rankings. So the fact he's still there at the summit is a great credit to the horse.
Yeah, it is, Ray. He's held that form now for a year, and that rating since the Everest has continued to go up. And, to have a horse out of Hong Kong that's the top-rated horse in the world hasn't been done out of Hong Kong before. Maybe Golden 60 for a short time. He held it. But Kaying, I think, is going to hold it for quite a while. And as you say, the classic horses tend to naturally get a higher rating. And for a sprinter, not many sprinters ever get there.
Exactly, yeah. Well, you've just got back home, so to speak, and you've got a chance to see him this morning. How is the champ?
Yeah, he's fantastic. He was consistently around 1160 pounds last season over the Everest period. And the other day he weighed in at 189, which is after a spell, just saying he's still developing. Yeah. So dare I say, normally when sprinters get bigger, they get better. And I think he'll race at around 1165, but he's a bigger, stronger horse.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine he could get better, but from what we saw at the back end of last season, Dave, that was the evidence, because he was breaking track records almost every start, but doing it in his typical effortless fashion. It's silly to say, but is he getting better?
He certainly hasn't gone backwards, and every time he's gone up in weight, he runs faster times. So his last 4 starts, he's beaten 4 track records. So I think at the end of last season, if there was another race, I don't know what odds he would have started, but he's normally starts at $1.00 and the second favourite 60-1 in Group 1 races. So it's just a pleasure to have him.
He's a sight to behold, and getting an opportunity to see him on Champions Day this year for the first time outside. I saw him at the Everest, of course, but to see him in his homeland, Hong Kong, he's an absolute icon and an idol to Hong Kong racing fans. What's your preparation now? Is it cut and paste from 2025, re the Everest, going into the spring?
Yeah. Look, I'll probably do exactly the same into the Everest, but out of the Everest is a little bit different. They're starting racing in China via the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So his lead-up race to the International will be the first Chinese group race ever run. Okay. So that'll be a bit of a thrill to be part of that with a horse, with a freak like this. So to the Australian trainers and owners, he'll only be having the one run. I would have loved to run him at Flemington or the Ian Balding. So we could have two runs in Australia, but with the big race in China, and it's a Hong Kong Jockey Club slot, we're heading towards the race in China.
That's understandable. I remember last spring, and even indeed in April when I was talking to you, you said there were a few things that you would do differently in terms of his preparation than what it was last year. That's in terms of his training I'm talking about, because obviously the Everest last year was a learning curve for the horse. He was away from home, so to speak, for the first time, and the barrier trial at Randwick got so much attention. What are you thinking this time, and what are those things that you're looking to do slightly differently from 12 months ago?
Look, we just nursed him. He was so impressive at his first run. After the first run, I thought I just need to hold his form and not do anything too clever, and he'll win down there, which he did. But it was probably his least impressive performance for the season anyway. Silly saying that in an Everest, but
and he won by 2 lengths, yeah.
Yeah, he won pretty well, but he just didn't do what he's done in some of the other races, I think, anyway, visually to the eye. So I'm going to work him just that little fraction harder going into the trial at Randwick. I was very easy on him at the trial. He went there far too fresh and melted, and he still trialled pretty well, but he just didn't quite trial like I've seen him trial up here. But that brought him on, and a gallop after it, and he was ready to go for the Everest. So this year I might have him a little bit more wound up for the trial.
Fair enough. The Canterbury facilities, the horse did seem to enjoy that. A couple of times I saw him at track work mornings, and he really enjoyed that course proper at Canterbury.
Oh, he really did. And he settled 8 and thrived. And he'll be coming out with a travelling companion again, someone that he's sort of sitting alongside right at the moment. And then that travelling companion might stay with the boys like Kei Ying Chia did last year. Yeah. And Kei Ying Chia won 4 races, so he taught him a bit.
How important is that, Dave, just as an aside, to have a companion with a horse? Because so many things can go wrong when you're travelling, but you need to keep the horse calm and in a good frame of mind. So how important is it to have a buddy, so to speak?
Oh, for him it's very important, because he basically spends, by the time he goes there and gets back, 8 weeks in isolation. And horses are herd animals, and they like to have company, especially with horses they're familiar with and know. So we'll send a travelling companion with him that he knows and do the same. But I don't think people quite realise, with a horse from Hong Kong, the quarantine is extremely strict going into Australia, but then it's very strict coming home into Hong Kong. And they get the double whammy, where European horses, it's quite strict coming into Australia, but they get a nice clear run when they go home. So it's hard to travel him regularly to Australia because there's so much isolation involved. It takes an Everest to get a horse like this to Australia.
Exactly, and to win an Everest is extraordinary, and can't wait to see him again this spring. David, I know the horse is in great demand, and your phone rings off the hook from racing jurisdictions around the world. Royal Ascot is probably leading the way in 2027. What can we expect from Kei Ying Rising after the Everest all going well, the international meeting, and then into the new year?
After the international meeting, he'll go for the Triple Crown again, which he's won the last 3 seasons, and after that, there'll be a decision made whether he has another rest because it's working so well when he has a rest, and that'll won't be good for Ascot if he's resting. But the decision is not about the owner or the money or anything which has been reported. It's all about the horse. When you've got one this good, they deserve a rest, and you just have to treat them very cautiously because every year he races is precious. You know, that you can, if we can keep him going for another couple of seasons, I'd hate to think what he could earn for the connections and how many Group 1s on his tally list.
Exactly. Well, think of Romantic Warrior. They've looked after him, so to speak. He's done a bit of travelling, to be fair, but they haven't over-raced him, and he's still going great guns, and he's a much older horse than Carying. And to your champion, he's only had the 23 starts, Dave.
Yeah, and he's just 6 and hasn't lost for 3 years, so we're not going to change too much. But probably the time we'll make a decision about what his program is it'd probably be midway through next year, February, March, and we'll make plans to whether he's just going to do the same again, which is pretty good. He's averaging 1.2 million Aussie a race, what he's doing at the moment, over 20 races. So there's not a financial reason to change anything.
Exactly. Would you ever stretch him out to 1,600 metres? As the competitive juices in you want to see what he might do at a mile?
Well, I think his most impressive win for the season was the 1,400. He broke the track record and was eased down from the 200. I would love to one day consider it, but we're fully focused on the Everest at the moment, and we'll worry about those things later in the season. But there's no race for him, unfortunately. For him to run in on the day. There's sprint races on the day the mile race has been run in Hong Kong, and there's really not a big mile race that looks obvious in say May, and that's what it would have to be, or April.
Well, if it ain't broke, why fix it, Dave? The horse is just thrilling racing fans right around the world. I really appreciate your time on Racing and Sports TV. The clock is ticking for the Spring Carnival. Get to see Carying Rising back for the Everest. Thanks so much for your time, David Hayes.
Thank you. Thanks, Ray.
So thank you to David Hayes. So Carying Rising trials on Friday ahead of his Everest defence later this year. Stay with us. Coming up after the break, we'll talk to Adam Blencowe, our ratings genius, and get an update on all the big race markets from Tab's Tim Ryan. Welcome back to the show. Now we're joined by Racing and Sports ratings guru, Adam Blencowe. So, Adam, what did you make of Cosmic Crusader's very impressive Lawrence Stakes win?
Yeah, the form isn't probably miles clear of what he produced in the Bletchingley, but he added some substance, and I love the way he did it as well. He was able to genuinely quicken up and reel in a horse. Like, Evaporate is a very good horse and well ridden from the front from Blake Shin. When you've got Blake Shin on his game and controlling things from the front, it's never easy to run one of those down. And he had plenty of horse to work with as well. So to reel him in, given the way that race set up, I thought was fantastic. So a rating of 121, which is on the high side for a Lawrence, but I think we knew we were dealing with that sort of race going into the Lawrence. There was depth there. And last year's winner in there, of course, as well, Private Eye, who ran to 121, winning it last year. Just a little bit off that this year at 118, but still a grand effort from the old boy.
Yeah, he ran well, didn't he? Where does 121 fit, given that Cosmic Crusader looks to be going to the Memsie Stakes at Group 1 level in 2 weeks?
He will need to improve again, but as I said, the sectional times will tell you that he can. So 121 is basically in line with his West Australian peaks. And so I think he's set down a really nice platform now to do something we haven't seen from him before. And certainly the way that Memsie field is shaping up, she's an alibi potentially hanging over there with a rating of 128 and a few others in there, all in that sort of mid-120s range. There's going to be more required of him. But as I said, he's done everything there that I think they would have wanted him to do, and the way that he's run 121 is probably more important than the 121 itself.
Yeah, good point. That Memsey's going to be a hot race, but he takes that race fitness edge from his 2 Melbourne wins into the Memsey in 2 weeks. The 3-year-old features at Caulfield were very interesting. I thought Hard Kick was good in the Vane Stakes, but Natural Fling and the Quisette ran faster time. She monstered her rivals.
Yeah, she was outstanding. As you say, Hard Kick looked like a typical Vane winner. Bounced back to form after a poor return to racing. So I think Danny O'Brien will be looking over the fence with Closer to Free, thinking, I hope I can follow that model with him, because he was ordinary. So he'll be needing to bounce back. He'd probably be Danny O'Brien looking back anyway at Star Witness from the old days, who was beaten as a short price favourite in a Vane and then bounced back to win the Coolmore. So that's where they'll be going with him. But Hard Kick looked like a typical Vane winner. Natural Fling was anything but typical, winning the Quisette. There was a lot of nice fillies, probably no great fillies chasing her, but as you say, she blew the doors off them, and the time figure's outstanding as well. So she was well ridden by Damien Lane at the same time, but yeah, that's real speed. And a rating of 111 there, which is it's hot on the heels of Cheyenne and Streisand, who were the top fillies last season. She's bang there with them, and only just a little bit behind the Group 1 winning Colts of last season as well. So a really big marker that she's put down. And I suppose people would be reaching for the form book and seeing the next episode rounding her up on the Gold Coast as well. And he's currently rated 111 as well with a big P, and that P has probably just taken a little bit more oomph behind that P, I suppose, Ray.
Yeah, he's a very promising horse. The next episode, the only horse to beat Natural Fling so far. At Rose Hill, we saw the fillies take on the boys, so to speak, in the Rosebud. Chili Girl remained unbeaten, defeating or running down the early leader Blue Door. Gee, I thought she was good, Chili Girl. I know it's impossible, Adam, but is there any way you can line up that Rosebud form against a Quisette?
It's kind of my job, I suppose. So, it's hard. I like to say it's hard. But, very skilled operators like myself, Ray, we can get away with at least a decent shot at it.
That's why I asked.
We've got her running 108, which is solid for a Rosebud without being sort of spectacular. But the time here, again, the time figure is good. She's run down Blue Door, who I think is tailor-made for this sort of racing. She's a speedy filly, Blue Door, and she backed up her kindergarten run, and I suppose you can loosely tie that through the next episode and tie it all in together. It rarely works out quite so neatly as A beats B, B beats C, therefore C beats A. That's, if only it was so convenient. But, again, we can look to the clock, we can look to form lines, and we can look to all of that and say that Chili Girl's a really nice filly. As I said, 108 is a good number, and she's done that in just 2 starts. The first 2, both just 2 starts so far. So there's plenty of upside there. They both look very speedy, that's for sure.
And certainly those who were with Blue Door last Saturday don't write her off, because she certainly looked like she needed the run, and she'll improve. She might go to the Heritage now in about a month's time, staying at 1100. Chili Girl will join the fillies in the Furious and be very hard to beat. Overseas at France, that trainer Francis Henri Graffard, he's won another Group 1 with Raif.
Yeah, he won the Prix Jacques Le Marois last night over the mile. That's the best mile
Glad
race.
you said it. I'm glad you said it.
Leave that one to me. With Raif, you can roll the R there too if you like, Ray. Another one of the Aga Khan's horses. Graffard is 6 from 15 in Group 1s. He's won 6 Group 1s on home soil this year with just 15 runners. So, he's outstanding all around the world. We've seen him win the Japan Cup with Calandagan, and we've seen him travelling with other horses as well. But at home, he is outstanding at the moment, Francis Henri Graffard. He has some good tools to operate with, and Raif is another one of those. So he'll run to about 124, I think, Raif, which puts him sort of at the bottom of the really good bubble, if that makes sense. He's an outstanding 3-year-old, clearly a classic winner. He won the Guineas over there as well. He's a little ways behind, say, Bo Echo and Gestard, but not so far behind that he shouldn't be, looking at racing them in not Bo Echo, sadly, anymore, but racing them in the good races at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Just one question without notice, Adam. The Ebor Festival starts this week. Wednesday night, there's this incredible clash between Ombudsman, who is the reigning champ, and this crack colt who's got everyone talking, Constitution River. How do you see it?
Yeah, that is an outstanding clash, and it's got all the sideline flavour as well there with, you've got the classic Godolphin v Coolmore clash, which has, been the highlight of European racing for a quarter of a century, I suppose, maybe longer now. And you've got Gosden and O'Brien having one of the most polite spats publicly you've ever heard in your life.
And made front page news in England, that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very, very polite barbs, but barbs all the same. A few cheeky little shots thrown over the fence. And yeah, head to head with two outstanding horses. Ombudsman has the runs on the board, as you say, last year's winner, and arguably even better at Royal Ascot. He was fast there. He ran straight through a hot tempo and blew away two really good horses there in Minnie Hawk and Deriz. They found Deriz wasn't quite himself there, and Minnie Hawk maybe not herself either this season, but the clock doesn't lie. Ombudsman was outstanding there, and he'll take a hell of a lot of beating. I'd say he'll hold clear sway in the betting in that duel, but yeah, I can say from experience, taking on Aidan O'Brien with gun 3-year-olds in big races and target races is it's a hard game. He's very, very good at it with Ryan there. So anytime you're taking them on with one of their best, and at the moment he is the best 3-year-old in Europe, yeah, you've got your hands full.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Adam, really appreciate your thoughts. We're going to make a habit of this in the world of racing. I hope you realise that. You can put in for a few goals, mate. So, thanks so much, Adam. We'll talk later in the week for the Racing and Sports weekend.
Yep, looking forward to that.
There's Adam Blencowe, our ratings genius. Stay with us. Coming up next, Tab's Tim Ryan. And now Tim Ryan from Tab joins us to get his latest market on what could be a stellar showdown in the Winx Stakes. And here's Tab's Tim Ryan joining us. Thanks so much, Tim. Firstly, Cosmic Crusader. I thought he was really good in the Lawrence Stakes. How does that form measure up potentially to the Memsie Stakes in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, good morning, Ray. Well, Cosmic Crusader was a bit of a bloodbath for us there on Saturday. He was our worst result for tab.com.au, not only through the main book, but he was also tab time there on Saturday. So, look, we were a little bit inclined to take him on, and maybe we might be inclined to take him on going further. He was a good firm in the Memsie betting, $8 into $4.50, subsequent to the race. But just going back over the race, they didn't run overly great time. There was another race earlier of lesser class on in the day that did run faster time. Mm-hmm. So, look, I'm not completely sold, but what he will have getting towards a Memsie is race fitness on his side. He's going to be third up. Does he race She's an Alibi? She's the even money favourite. The money is certainly suggesting that she's probably more likely to run in the Memsie than the Winx, but she's the current even money favourite. The Cosmic Crusader, good firm there on Saturday. Now your second pick at $4.50 in front of Jimmy Star, $5, Angel Capital, $6, and Aliana there at $7. So a little bit of water to flow under the bridge. What turns up in the Memsie? Looking like a great race. My default position at this stage, though, with Cosmic Crusader might just be to take it on, though.
Yep, fair enough. We mentioned She's an Alibi. There is some chatter about potentially of this stellar showdown with Autumn Glow in the Winx Stakes, the first of the Group 1s at Royal Randwick this weekend. I guess you've had to put She's an Alibi in the market now.
Yeah, I copped that suggestion on Saturday morning. Peter Moody indicating that he's likely to nominate. So, look, I wanted to just take her on a little bit. I'm not entirely convinced that she'll be there on Saturday, but we'll wait and see. I put her in as a $4.50 chance on Saturday morning. Immediately got 1,000 out of her at $4.50. I went 4, and then I got another couple of thousand out of her at the $4. So I'm into $3.50 pre-noms. We'll have those noms shortly, but the money's dried up now that I've gone $3.50. Look, I'd imagine if she was to run, she'd be probably closer to maybe like a $2.50 chance. So there is a bit of a bonus there. She is overs, but does she run? That's the risk that you've got to take. So at this stage, I'm happy to lay her. I'd certainly have Autumn Glow favourite to beat her if they did line up, though.
Yeah, even if we don't see She's an Alibi, it's going to be one heck of a race, the Winx Stakes, the way it's shaping up anyway. Of course, Autumn Glow, as you mentioned, the hot favourite. Tim, we heard from David Hayes earlier in the show, and Carrying Rising will barrier trial on Friday. It's his first significant step towards another potential Everest run in spring. He's still dominating Everest betting, isn't he, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. He's, I guess, been a little bit out of sight, out of mind for us, but that hasn't stopped punters backing him. He's the real banker for punters over the Spring Carnival. Not just backing him straight out, but he's the last leg of a lot of multis. And as it sits, he's our biggest current liability for the Spring. So still your $1.50 favourite. Not a lot of change in behind him in the betting. We did get that news last week that Ninja is going to head towards a hopeful Tab Everest slot. It's going to go towards a shorts. It was the firmer last week, 26 into 15. But outside of that, not a lot of change to Tab Everest betting. Still a very dominant favourite, 150. K-ing Rising. Will we learn more about Autumn Glow after Saturday?
So thanks to Tim Ryan and to all our guests on the inaugural World of Racing. Coming up this week in the World of Racing, we've got the Group 1 Winx Stakes at Royal Randwick as centre stage. Of course, the support races include the Group 2 Silver Shadow, the Group 2 Show County and the Group 3 Toy Show. Some outstanding Spring Carnival hopefuls resuming at Royal Randwick. And at Sandown is the Group 3 Carline Stakes. Don't forget the Ebor Festival starts at York in England this week. And on Wednesday night, day one of the Ebor Festival, is the Juddmonte International and this extraordinary clash between the world's #1 ranked racehorse Ombudsman and the crack 3-year-old from the Aidan O'Brien stable, Constitution River. It should be one hell of a race. So again, thank you so much for joining us on the World of Racing.